The storms are over, damage done, a statewide cleanup underway.
We have multiple houses significantly damaged from trees falling.
From the time the wind started and the rain and the trees coming down, it must have been 30 seconds. It was that quick.
Trees down, homes damaged, emergency responders working around the clock.
And after the storm, we probably fielded over 300 calls of various issues that happened due to the storm.
Hundreds of thousands in the dark at the height of the storm, many restored, but tonight, a power struggle.
Well, I'm waiting for an update from JCP&L to let me know when I'm going to be a priority for them and get my service back up here in the police department.
Around New Jersey, around the clock, following the storm damage in your communities. This is New Jersey Tonight. I'm Nick Medanis.
And I'm Della Cruz. To heat waves to severe storms, the weather wreaking havoc on New Jersey for the past week.
A sunny forecast ahead, but first, a look at the damage left behind tonight. Many still in the dark after electricity went out last night. Team 12 coverage around the state.
Erica Such in Camden County, Marcy Rubin at the shore in Monmouth.
But let's start with News 12 New Jersey's Chris Keating in Howell tonight, where many people are dealing with those power problems. Chris?
Nick, good evening. And here in Howell, believe it or not, we are seeing some serious progress being made. I'm standing along Route 9 at Aldrich Road, and within just the last few minutes, the lights came back on at this intersection, as well as some of the businesses within this corridor. Earlier, it was all being run by generator. Now, in the meantime, there are still people in the dark. In fact, JCP&L telling us that at this very time, there are still about 6,000 customers waiting for the AC and lights to kick back on. It's not often you'll find an entire strip mall in New Jersey closed for business. But that's the case at Aldrich Plaza along Route 9, which was without power all day long. These businesses are in the same boat as homeowners who are now awaiting their turn to see JCP&L on their block.
3 times a pickup truck was there, and they get out and they look up and they look and they look. They hop in and they leave.
Matt McGowan was at a local gas station filling up on gas for his generator, which is keeping his refrigerators running. 2 hours on, 2 hours off is his system.
This will take me to this time tomorrow if nothing happens.
Randomly around Howell today, you could find roads like Yellowbrook that are impassable. At around 6:30 Monday, trees started falling in 70-mile-an-hour winds, pulling down power lines across the road and cutting power to nearby homes. At Fairfield Road near 33, it was a similar sight. Police have it shut down until the trees are removed and lines fixed. Homeowners aren't the only ones dealing with the hardship. The Howell Police Department lost power and then their generator failed. Thanks to Monmouth County OEM, they got a generator in here to help, but Chief Kudrick is still waiting on the power company to get this building up and running as normal.
I'm waiting for an update from JCP&L to let me know when I'm going to be a priority for them and get my service back up here in the police department, because I do consider myself a public safety priority, being a police department.
The chief here in Howell says there is help for those in need who are still in the dark and having trouble with food and water. Town Hall is open for water, and you can charge your phone there as well. Also, JCP&L has 2 spots open where you can get water and ice if necessary. In Howell Township, Chris Keating, News 12 New Jersey.
Chris, thank you. Some Monmouth County communities are planning tonight to endure 4 days without power. A lawmaker calling out utility companies tonight, saying these outages are unacceptable. The Assembly Speaker, Craig Coughlin, wants utility companies to look at their procedures. He says, quote, "It seems like losing power for extended periods of time has become the new norm. Last night's storm was not a hurricane, it was a thunderstorm. I refuse to accept that we simply lose power after almost every thunderstorm." We spoke to both JCP&L and PSE&G by phone tonight.
Anytime a customer is out for multiple days, obviously it's not a situation we want to put them in. But these are not your average storms, and I think by the videos and by the footage that you've been showing, that attests that we're not just dealing with thunderstorms that just came through the area and left.
What took us all by surprise was the severity and the intensity of the wind and the rain, and there was a lot of tree damage. So once we used today, throughout the day, to do lookups and evaluating and looking at our resources, we realized we needed to bring in some extra support.
At the height of the storm, more than 300,000 people without power. Utility companies say crews from out of state are helping now to eventually get everyone's electricity back on.
Meteorologist Dave Curran here now, and taking a look at this camera here in Weehawken, and you know, it was really coming down in Edison before airtime. Should we be worried about these clouds I'm looking at right now?
At any given moment, we're probably going to shake out some showers, but the severity of the storms is certainly not where they were this time yesterday. We are looking at some grumpy-looking clouds across most of New Jersey. We still have a frontal boundary that will continue to push some rain showers on up into the state. The good news here is that while we are looking at some wet weather, we are not looking at the storminess that we saw over the last couple of days. And with the clouds and the rain showers, our temperatures have cooled sufficiently. So there are tens of thousands of people still without power here in New Jersey, but luckily we don't have the obnoxious heat and humidity to go along with that. So, you know, we are going to be dealing with a little bit more in the way of wetter weather and then better weather kind of moving in for tomorrow. I'm going to talk more about that coming up a little bit later in the show. Right now, we want to talk to Erica Sutch. She's in Camden County right now where the lights are still out, right, Erica?
That's right. We're on the main drag here in Collingswood. It's still in the dark here. This storm proving just how powerful it was, taking down power lines, leaving businesses and residents in the dark.
The lights were flickering, and so I went just to my living room to grab some candles, and I heard a noise that I knew was not thunderite.
Crescent Avenue resident Sarah Valari will spend another night without power after a tree in her yard took out 2 others and a power line last night.
It was just locust trees everywhere. All 3 of them happened to be locust, and it was just leaves, and everything was piled on poor Dave and Pat's house. You know, I'm glad it looked a lot worse than it was, but you couldn't even see their house. It was just a jumble of branches and leaves.
Just one street over, a similar scene. This tree still blocking the roadway. In nearby Cherry Hill, businesses were forced to close for the day with the hopes of reopening tomorrow. Hundreds of residents in the township still without power tonight. And in Camden, generators running at full power to keep the lights on at a senior living center. Right outside of it, several PSE&G crews hoping to get East Camden back on the grid.
It took down a tree that subsequently took down 2 utility poles in the East Camden section and took out quite a big grid of the East Camden community.
1,200 to 1,500 residents were left without power.
I went to my daughter's house, but tonight I'm gonna stay here.
The city opening an elementary school up during the day with the potential to turn it into a shelter if power doesn't come on tonight.
This is an opportunity for folks to get out of the heat of their homes, but more importantly come and they can charge their cell phones. They can cool off in here. We have refreshments. They can take water with them.
And back out here in Collingswood, according to the PSE&G map, the power is supposed to be restored here around tomorrow morning. Other parts of the area not until tomorrow night. In Camden County, Erica Sutch, News 12, New Jersey.
And let's move on to Burlington County on Route 130 in Edgewater Park. When tearing the roof off of a car wash, debris thrown at the McDonald's next door, damaging the Golden Arches. Power lines down, leaving Cooper Street without service. In Willingboro, an Acme store running on a backup generator. Much of the food had to be thrown out. The store not selling any dairy as a precaution. Up to Middlesex County, damage in Sayreville. This along Route 35 at the Morgan Drawbridge. It connects Old Bridge and Sayreville. A downed utility pole and wires causing the U-turn ramp underneath that bridge. It was affected. The traffic light at Tyler Street had been out, possibly because of the wires down. New video out of Tenafly tonight, a tree taking down power lines on River Edge Road. Those power lines were live. They ignited a fire on a parked car. You can see the water there pouring onto the fire. Power in that area was restored.
Elsewhere in Bergen County, flooding in the streets. This is the scene in Hackensack. That water now gone tonight. A similar scene over in Moonachie. The roads there also flooded as cars drive through those higher waters. Newark's fire division says it made 30 rescues during yesterday's flooding, most with people trapped in their cars because of quickly rising water. The first rescue happening at around 8 o'clock last night. Officials say many drivers ignored warnings to avoid flooded streets. Still, with all that, no injuries reported. Back to Monmouth County, Farmingdale, another tree bringing wires down on West Farms Road. The people who live there saying they had never seen wind like this.
Power slowly coming back on in parts of hard-hit Monmouth County. At one point, 75% of Wall Township lost electricity. And in small Spring Lake Heights, 85% of JCP&L customers were out. Many businesses lost more than power. News 12 New Jersey's Marcy Rubin along Route 35 with more.
Yeah, a lot of that power has come back on here in the Wall Township, Belmar area, but there are still a lot of people without power, businesses and homeowners. Very frustrating and slightly uncomfortable for residents, but it could be quite costly for businesses.
This is the longest in a long time.
Michelle Paradiso working by flashlight as her Colfax pharmacy in Wall Township goes on hour 24 without power Tuesday night, potentially costing her thousands of dollars.
It's really bad for business. Every day is, bad for business because you're losing money for everything that you're doing, billing prescriptions, filling out front.
Hers was one of only 2 businesses at the normally busy Colfax Plaza on Belmar Boulevard that could keep the doors open in the dark. All others, including the post office and especially restaurants, had closed and no power signs hanging. Those in the food industry forced to toss potential profits. By 3 p.m., the Shell down the road was back in business with a scene reminiscent of Superstorm Sandy. Many unsure when their power would come back on were filling up canisters for generators at home. Inside, the 7-Eleven benefiting from coming back online earlier than other businesses in town.
When the power came back on, we had long lines because everybody wanted ice, cigarettes, milk, all staple foods.
But not far away in Spring Lake Heights, we found one neighbor who was hoping the power would have stayed off just a little longer.
Everybody forgot about their computers. Everybody was neighbors. Everybody got together and made sure everybody was okay. And now everybody's going to put on their air conditioning and put on their TV and watch News 12.
As long as they watch News 12, and you can get all the information not only on your television, but also on your phone and the app and the website and all that good stuff. So make sure you keep it tuned in. As for those intersections that still have traffic signals out, like this popular intersection of 18th and 35 here in Wall Township, well, they have barricades up so that folks can't make left-hand turns, trying to keep folks safe out there until the power comes completely back on. We're in Wall Township tonight. Marcy Rubin, News 12, New Jersey.
And Marcy, let's go back to Ocean County tonight. A 100-foot tree snapping at the base, crashing onto the roof of a home in Jackson. A 30-foot branch also falling, damaging a family shed and fence. The storm knocking out power to almost a dozen traffic lights in town.
Staying right there in Ocean County, cleanup in Lakewood. Several cars crunched by downed trees. Property damage throughout that community. No word on injuries.
Neptune, Monmouth County, a woman scrambles through a window after a tree falls on her home. Look at it there. It's Cortlandt Street. That tree fell, actually hitting 2 homes. No injuries. And during the severe weather, a deadly house fire, flames consuming a home in Neptune. A 17-year-old boy did not make it out. That home on McBride Avenue had lost power. Still right now, it's not clear how the fire started. Authorities are not releasing the boy's name. 2 other people in the home did make it out okay.
Looking at the position of that tree, that is so scary.
Yes,
and that on power lines, woof.
A lot of dangerous situations over the last couple of nights here. Still to come here tonight, an update on travel delays and what you can expect for the rest of the week.
Plus more severe weather nationwide. Stay with us here on New Jersey Tonight. We'll be right back.